What's up, my PT peeps? One Eye Bri back to talk about The Walking Dead and do a discussion about Merle versus Negan. Spoiler warning if you're not up to date about The Walking Dead Season 7, before that, and whatever. Just overall general spoiler warning about Merle, Negan, the show, The Walking Dead in general. Now, we'll never have Merle versus Negan because Merle is dead and Negan is not, and they never met, but it's just a fun thing to do. Comicbook.com, we'll put the link in the description. They actually interview Michael Rooker at a recent convention in Atlanta. The Walking Dead Season 7 has introduced a fearsome new villain in Jeffrey Dean Morgan's Negan, a man so unapologetically psychopathic that he beats people to death with a bat like it's a disciplinary game for children. Negan's gruesome dispatching of Glenn and Abraham was bad enough, but his torturing of Daryl and psychological torturing of Rick and all of Alexandria has proven that Negan is a sadist like The Walking Dead has never seen. So yes, killing Glenn and Abraham has set the tone of Negan that he's terrible. He's the worst villain that The Walking Dead has seen, and I think will ever see, except maybe Alpha can give a run for his money, but I think killing those two, torturing Daryl, is terrible, and people don't like that. That's why Season 7 is kind of struggling right now. Hopefully turns around when Negan turns down. Comicbook.com had a chance to speak with another not-so-likable name from The Walking Dead recently, Michael Rooker, who played Daryl's scumbag of a brother, Merle. Rooker starts to get the classic Merle Livewire twitch when asked how the marauding hillbilly would react to Negan's treatment of Daryl, saying, "Well, if you call yourself Negan and you listen to what he's saying, then everyone's cool. But I don't know if Merle would actually enjoy seeing his friends being abused." He goes on to joke that he wouldn't be able to give Daryl advice on how to handle Negan since it's a tough one since he's so stubborn. And he's talking about Daryl being stubborn. Merle's very stubborn as well. And that's the kind of funny thing. You can see the actual interview on the link there too. It's not very long, but it's kind of interesting to see. He also talks about Guardians of the Galaxy, which is kind of cool. I like Michael Rooker, and Merle had his funny moments, but he's not missed, but he would be an interesting take to see how it would be Merle versus Negan. There was a time in The Walking Dead, if you can believe it, when Merle was our biggest concern in regards to human antagonists lurking in the shadows. Since then, we have cannibals, rapists, many a psycho, and pretty much everything in between. Hell, given what Rick and his crew have done on the show, Merle would probably fit right in with them nowadays. And that's true. Merle was kind of the first guy that was outside the box with one of the characters, but Merle versus Negan, I want to talk about that a little bit because it'll never happen. But Merle, I think, is a survivor. Merle would probably end up joining the Saviors, I could see. Just like he was a member of Rick's group and then Woodbury, I could see him joining the Saviors. But that'll never happen as he was zombie Merle, as the governor took him out. And then his brother had to take him out, which is very emotional on there too. One of the most emotional things that happened on the show as in the first couple seasons. I could see Merle being in the lineup and Negan taking Daryl and Merle wanting to go with him because that's his brother. He's like, "That's my brother," because there is a connection with the Dixon brothers, that's for sure. And that would have been a nice storyline to have, but it'd been so far down the way because Season 7 versus Season 3 when Merle was gone. But Merle brought some craziness and fun to it. He was a fighter, so he would be able to handle himself against Negan one-on-one or the Saviors or other people there too. And he was an asset. He was kind of military experience and he could do it. But I could see Merle standing right in that line with the Saviors. He kind of fits the MO of the Saviors too. Much better than the Woodbury people. I see him being a savior. I can just see him being in line with those guys. Being there too would probably be the most logical way of it. But if he was going to be in the lineup, I see himself giving up. I see him not fighting Negan, and he's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Negan. I'm whoever you want me to be, man." I could see him flip-flopping to stay alive. Just like when he did here to Glenn and Maggie, and he was going to kill Glenn. He was going to kill Michonne. He would do anything to survive in the group that he's at there. But his one weak point was his brother. Him and Daryl had a connection that would be probably his Achilles heel. He wouldn't like Daryl being tortured, broken down, and what would happen there too. That would actually be a great storyline if the Dixon brothers were taken back with the Saviors. But again, like I said, it'll never happen. He went against the governor, tried to make up for his prior mistakes and attacks against Michonne and really the group in general, just trying to make up for him to end the conflict with the governor. But like I said, his one soft spot was for his brother Daryl, and he wouldn't stand for Daryl being tortured in there. He would probably try to help his brother, and I could see him sacrificing himself for Daryl to escape the saviors, which would have been a great storyline. But like I said, we'll never get it. I would like to have seen that. I liked Michael-Rooker. I thought he was hilarious as Merle. I thought he's great as Yondu too, and in a lot of different roles. He's kind of out there, little crazy character, but Merle brought a lot to the show, and we don't really have those kind of characters right now too, and that's kind of why the show is kind of being broken down. But the Dixon brothers are and were a good part of the show. You know, the fun fact of it that Norman Reedus read for the part of Merle. They already gave the part to Michael-Rooker, but they liked Norman Reedus so much, and that became Daryl Dixon and the Dixon brothers. But like I said, the most logical thing is what I've seen is Merle would not go against Negan. He would join Negan. He would be a savior. He would be there to kind of help his brother, and then eventually sacrificing himself for Daryl to escape and get back to the group is the most logical thing I could see, because Merle's not an idiot. He's far from it. He's a survivor, but he does flip-flop from side to side, and I could see him being on one side to the other, whatever he would have to do to survive. So there you go, guys. That's my take on it. Like, share, subscribe. Subscribe today to get more videos. Let us know what you think and post your comments of your thoughts on the topic. Thanks, guys, for watching. You guys are awesome.